Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today, Patrice of Invest Her Business. Patrice, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. I just appreciate being here.
No problem. I appreciate you for taking some time out. And what I want to do was just read a little bit more about Patrice so you can hear about all the awesome things that she's doing. Patrice has all the instability of an entrepreneur. She uses the term instability because this quality represents the journey of the entrepreneur in spirit in the process to the goal. Instability reflects unreliability, uncertainty, unpredictability, vulnerability, and riskiness. These qualities are the key elements that separates this group from the majority. Layered along with discipline and process, Patrice has gained the wisdom and full understanding that you fail your way to success. Patrice, are you ready to speak to the I'm CEO community?
Yes, so much to say, so little time.
Exactly. So let's do it. So let's jump right in. So the first thing I wanted to do is hear more about what I call your CEO story and what led you to start your business.
Oh my goodness. I actually was around the age of 21. I was living in LA at the time, and I had this, I was basically in school for business. It was merchandise marketing, but the core focus of my program was for entrepreneurs. And I needed the money. It was LA.
Yes.
And so I was a bartender, but I moved there, and life is high. It's pretty expensive out there. And I wasn't really, I wasn't finding any opportunities as much as I would have liked. I was in between. Either I was being stereotyped as an actress or something of that nature, and no one would hire me, or it was a constant issue. And eventually I went on, and I shot for the stars and hoped to land on the moon, and it was on from there.
Nice. Yeah, that's often what you have to do.
History. Yeah, definitely. I would say there is a lot of bit of truth to the burning boats method. Some people don't believe in it, but some people, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I hear that a lot, especially with people going to, usually it's New York or LA, especially, is that, okay, I'm just going to pack up everything and I'm going to go and try to, make my dreams into a reality. But obviously you don't have to be in either of those two places just to make that happen. But a lot of times you do have to kind of burn those bridges, because if you don't, you always try to swim back to the shore.
And there is a level of discomfort that comes with entrepreneurship. I find that oftentimes the comfort is the thing that hinders more than not. I probably wouldn't have been as inclined to just jump into it, but I had bills and I had life, and I had dreams, and that was the goal, to be able to move forward in that vein. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I heard this phrase, and I always say it myself, is there's no pressure, no diamond. So sometimes it's bills, sometimes that's responsibilities. Sometimes it's the fact that you did burn the boats and you have to figure out how to swim to get to where you need to be. But a lot of the times that's really where, those really great opportunities happen, because you have that pressure, and how you kind of respond and react to that pressure is usually when things take off.
Oh, definitely. I would definitely agree. And also it being just, I find that a lot of entrepreneurs, they're wired a little different from the start. I can see it. I can smell a real, well, I'll say just someone who's kind of naturally they have that thing, in them. There's a little bit of that too. There's some grace. There's a few other things involved in the process. But even from 16 and 17, I would work at clothing stores, and instead of me just focusing on trying to become manager, I wanted to, I remember going up to the general manager, and I'm asking him, how do I start one of these? And not really knowing that was weird.
Yeah,
right?
Right.
That's a weird question, but that was already inside of me. I just didn't know what that was driving me to want to actually own one of those instead of work there and just, make another $2 or $1, an hour more.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you say that. I remember that a lot of times when I was younger as well, too, just not understanding that that wasn't what everybody else wanted. And sometimes you're going on a different path. And you're like, why isn't everybody else wanting to go on the same path? But
Mm-hmm.
that's part of what, makes entrepreneurs a different breed as you kind of focused on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nice. And I wanted to drill down a little bit deeper and hear about Invest Her. Could you tell us a little bit more about what you're doing with that?
Investor business coaching. It's so what I do is basically I come in and I take an idea, a dream, and I pretty much bring the resources, the tools, and the plan to get you going. So I'm the tough one. I'm the one who doesn't, it's not the fun stuff. It's like, okay, I love to bring people the resources that they need. Okay, you have an idea, you have a dream. That's awesome. That's great. So now we have to actually put it into practicality. We actually have to take this idea and bring it from the conceptual phase to, the real right here, right now.
Yeah.
So I bring in the plan, how to get it done. And that is what I do.
Yeah.
Also, I like to bring in my resources as well, because I find that a lot of times we just don't have the resources. We have the ideas though, like I hear so many amazing ideas, but to go from that to when does the idea actually become tangible?
Mm-hmm.
That's two different things. And most people don't struggle with the ideas. They have ideas and ideas and ideas. Most people struggle with making the ideas practical, bringing their actual products and services to the marketplace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I always usually say like execution is everything. And a lot of times, there's a lot of people that have, like you said, really great ideas for products or services, whatever it might be. But the difference between those who become the most successful is, being able to execute on that and have people like yourself that's able to kind of guide them and hold yourself and their team accountable to make sure you're getting the things done to make that happen is definitely essential.
Yes. Yes. I just wish that there was more of that. There are a lot of businesses that are constantly being started, but people don't really understand the difference between, there's a testing phase and then there's an actual business phase. You know what I mean? There are so many different elements, and I try and educate people that now, you know what? I think I'll wait. I'll dive into that later.
Yeah, that makes sense because a lot of times, there's the difference between having something and not. So I wanted to ask you now for what I call your secret sauce. And could be your unique selling proposition. What you feel kind of differentiates you or your organization and sets you apart?
I think the difference is simply I just have the ability I'm very solution oriented, but that's not really the sauce. The sauce is the fact that I think what I've come to realize over the last 9 years is that it's not just business that you're focused on. And I think that a lot of people drive home business, but what I feel like my secret sauce is connecting with the person's soul, their spirit, and starting to rework the way that they see themselves, the way that they see life, and the way that they even see business. Business is not just business. Business is purpose. Business is destiny. It's a part of, it's not, it's one aspect of that, your mind, body, soul. And I think the difference is I focus on everything. I don't just focus on that aspect of you. Whereas most people, they kind of go and they hone in on business. But what you'll find is if you start to dig deep, a lot of times the person is not thriving in business because it's very much so connected to something else. It could be something someone told them, something that they feel about themselves. It could be something totally outside of business. And I think what makes me different is the fact that I am all for overall just wealth and prosperity, not just in terms of financially in business, but in mind, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. and diving into that. I think that is, I thought my unique selling point was that I was super solution oriented, business, this, that, and the third, but I truly believe that is the gift.
Yeah, no, that hits home, and that makes perfect sense, because a lot of times, like you mentioned, a lot of people that might not be able to get to that next level, it's not necessarily because they're not doing the things that they're supposed to do. Sometimes it's some underlying issue that might have happened when they were 5 years old, or when they were 25
Yes.
or whatever, and they continue to hold on to that, but not being able to look at the entire picture, just saying, oh, well, you're not doing enough sales calls. That may not necessarily be exactly what it
Yes.
is, because they might be doing some type of self-sabotage. Do you find that?
Yes. 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 You're so on point with that. Half of my calls, instead of it being business, they overflow into, you know, trying to actually build up the esteem of the human being.
Mm.
It always, 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 it will end up overflowing. When you start to dig deeper, you find that there are layers and layers and layers to a person's business, not either A, just not going anywhere, just stagnant, or B, kind of in this phase where it's doing well, but they can't get to the next level, or C, you know, them not fully understanding the business aspect to business.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's that. And I think that is one of the biggest missing components that I see.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And it's funny because I know I was one of the books that everybody always talks about as one of the greatest books is like not Rich Dad Poor Dad, but the and I by Napoleon Hill, cannot remember the name. Literally
Oh,
just lost it.
yes, yes,
Think and Grow Rich.
yes,
One of
yes.
the big things he has in there, he talks a lot about usually our biggest impediment to us being successful sometimes is our self-confidence and our self-esteem, which what you just kind of spoke to, because a lot of times we don't have that, and we can kind of create pitfalls or create
Mm-hmm.
issues or things all around us, when in reality we're trying to make it there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
Nice,
yes.
nice, nice. Well, I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask you
Mm-hmm.
for what I call a CEO hack. And this might be an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but it's something that makes you more effective and efficient.
This is good. I have so many of them that I have learned over the years. One of my hacks, I complete my week in terms of what I'm going to do prior to ever experiencing the week. And I'm talking about, it is so detailed that when I go throughout my day, I maximize my day to the fullest. Now this is, it might seem small, but it can revolutionize your business, because when you are in business and you're doing your tasks, like for instance, you might have emails this day, you might have this that day, but what you'll find is you can get lost anywhere. And it could just be a non-ending trail of just emails. Someone calls, you do this, you do that, that goes away. I do not do that. I stick to the plan, I stick to the script, and I get it done. Another thing, how many do I have?
How many you want to go? You can use one more. Yeah.
Just one more. Gotta choose a good one. Okay, I'll just go with this one. I turn on Do Not Disturb when I am working, because I have found that as an entrepreneur, people do not believe you work. and and they will call you like it is casual time and have casual conversations. And I put Do Not Disturb so that I cannot be thrown off of my day, because it's so easy to go off into oblivion.
Yeah, that's a really good one. It's funny that you mentioned that. Yeah, a lot of times, especially when I first started, a lot of times people were like, "Oh, well, you have a lot of free time, so you can do X, Y, and Z." Well, no, actually, I'm
Yes.
working just as much as you, if not more.
If
So
definitely more. Most
exactly.
times.
Exactly. So you definitely have to make sure to protect your time. So I think that's a phenomenal CEO hack, and of course being as planned as possible, because the chaoticness, if that's a word, of being a CEO and entrepreneur and business owner can sometimes take over.
Yes. Yes. Easy. Easy. It's so easy to get lost. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many good ones that I'm like, oh, so many came, but
Yeah, we're gonna have to add some more on. We'll do a take two. So now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget, and this is a word of wisdom or piece of advice. Or if you could hop into a time machine, what would you tell your younger business self?
that you have to, well, firstly, you have to outsource the things that you are subpar at, because you'll spend a lot of time wasting time trying to learn certain aspects of your business versus outsource the things that you're not really great at, and you'll lose a lot of money where you could have that time could have been used more efficiently to do things that would benefit your business and push it forward, while you just spent the money to outsource certain things. You should not just, if you're not good at it, if you do not know how to, certain things, just now, if don't get me wrong, we learn as we go in entrepreneurship, as well, you have to learn certain things, and certain things you will not know until you get in. But when you have the opportunity to outsource certain aspects of business, do it. The things that you can afford to do. The nugget that I share when I speak, the nugget that I often hear no one has received, is that the world will teach you that it's one business. That's not true. You have two businesses. You have your business, then you have the business surrounding your business, which is the marketing, all the paperwork, the legal stuff. That is a completely different thing. And the reason why I like to say it like that is because I find that when people go into business, they think it's just, oh, great, I get to bring my product and my service and my packaging and meat to the table. But there is a whole nother side that is unattractive that goes ignored, called, paperwork and your taxes and all of it, your packaging, your branding, all of these things go into your brand and who you are when your product or your service goes into the marketplace. They're not the same. So oftentimes what happens is the product and service is awesome, but it might not be receiving enough attention because your branding isn't on, it's not together. Your packaging looks subpar, but the product is excellent, but no one will ever know it, because if the packaging isn't enticing, then I don't really want it. These are the things, or, you sell, you have what you have, but you're out of stuff often enough because you don't have the proper funding to actually have your product, or, you know what I mean, in overflow, in stock, ready to go. And so when you do that, every time you do that, you lose a customer, you lose eyes, you lose attention. And so you have all of these different things that surround the business that you think it's just one, but it's two. And I think that when people can let that marinate and really come to terms with that, it will really help, because I've been hearing that that's people's favorite nugget. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's a book, The E-Myth, that I remember that a lot of people start businesses. They start businesses because they really love whatever it is that they do. It could be, a barber, or a person that owns a salon, or maybe you like to, make whatever, like to make t-shirts, but you forget about that second part, that second business that you mentioned, the marketing, sales, the paperwork, all those things, which are just as essential, if not more essential, to the business, to being successful. And you have to take care of that, or you won't have a business to even celebrate. So I love that nugget. And now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Patrice, I want to ask you, what does being a CEO mean to you?
Oh my goodness. It doesn't mean, in my opinion, what everybody thinks it means from the outside looking in. It means working your butt off. You know what I mean? It means being an absolute go-getter, consistently hitting it every day. Every day is not the same. Sometimes you will come across things that you don't even know how that occurred, but you have to get it done. I think a CEO is a resilient person who has the capacity to figure it out. And that's, I mean, seriously, they know who to call, they know who to go to. And if they do not, they will search relentlessly on trying to find the solution the fastest and be the most efficient. I think those are the things that are required for a CEO. The vision, of course, is required for a CEO, but the ability, as you said in the beginning, to execute.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I love that definition. I love that perspective. So Patrice, I appreciate your time. What I want to do is pass you the mic just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and our listeners know. And then, of course, how best they can get a hold of you.
Okay. So yes, there are a few things. I want to just say, be solution oriented. Everything is my go-to quote is everything is figure outable. I believe that you cannot come into entrepreneurship and fold because you don't know. You have to figure out what to do, how to get it done. There's always a solution. It might not be ideal. It might not be perfect, but there's always a way around situations. But you have to be resilient. You have to be consistent. You will want to give up. You will want to. It truly is a failing to the finish line type of thing. You don't learn by not ever getting out there. You have to jump first. You have to jump first. Calculate it, but definitely jump. Because once you get going, the opportunities begin to flow. They begin to come. Doors begin to open, but they don't open up with you just sitting on the sidelines. You have to be consistent. Consistency, having a plan, and always trying to figure it out. Having your own, as you said, unique selling point is imperative. Knowing who you are, being innovative without going all the way off the rails to figure it out. Those things are important. Very important.
Makes perfect sense. And people that want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can contact me at Patrice Lene at investherbusiness.com. I will answer you immediately or as soon as I can. Generally, it will be very quickly.
Awesome. And we'll have those links in the show notes as well. But I appreciate you, Patrice, for your time and all the awesome things that you're doing. I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
Thank you.
All right. And I'll cut it off here.
Have a good one. Okay.
All right, Patrice, I appreciate your time. Appreciate the opportunity to kind of hear a little bit more about you and about your business. I know during the episode while we were recording, you had some additional hacks that you wanted to try to give to us, had some really juicy hacks. So I wanted to give you the mic just to see what other things do you use or do you know of that makes you more effective and efficient?
Honestly, I'm going to give you just things that I use in life that make me more efficient because I think they're imperative. I think that people underestimate the power of having a healthy lifestyle and routine where you commit a certain amount of time to your mental health, to your physical health. And I know this is coming outside of entrepreneurship, but it's all interconnected. And I believe in it, and I just want to impart that. So having some sort of workout regimen, having some sort of regimen where you dedicate to yourself, it works wonders. Having balance. Yes, you grind, but you have to figure out a way. For me, I do have a cutoff time. Now, sometimes when I'm doing my conferences, I don't necessarily commit to my cutoff time. A conference or, sometimes, when you have big projects, you can't necessarily, certain things just have to get done and certain things will fall through. And so you have to just commit to it. But generally, I have a cutoff time, and I found that in business, it helped me because I would spend all of my time giving all of my time and not having any time to pour into Patrice. So 7 o'clock, I cut it off. Now my mornings are early. I get up very early, but 7 o'clock is my cutoff time because I like to have a 2-hour window dedicated to myself, and I generally read. But that is another thing that I feel like is imperative, because you will run yourself dry at some point. So balance is important. And the one that everyone knows, but don't do enough of, read. And the reason why I'm saying this is a hack is because think about this. Someone took possibly 30 years, 40 years, thousands of student loans, thousands of dollars worth of student loans to get and acquire all of that knowledge, to put it in something, in a book that you can purchase and, take a few hours to read, that cost you, what, $14.99? If you think, you can never pay a person for the knowledge that they acquire in life. You can never really, when we purchase books, we're really, really, really ripping people off, and we're really, really getting a great deal.
Yeah, you're right.
And I say that's a hack because it is a hack. Somebody just gave you the blueprint and they spent thousands of dollars or a lifetime worth of experiences to receive that information, to impart, into you, so that you can have a shortcut to do it 10 years, faster. You know what I mean? 15 years faster. Or read. Commit yourself to a reading regimen. And that is the reason why I'm saying that. You don't know what they know. And you can always learn. If you get one extra nugget, it will make a world of difference.
Yeah, that makes. You got another one?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it? Okay. No, I love those because especially the reading. I heard this thing years ago where a guy said readers are leaders. And I read too that a lot of billionaires and multimillionaires and all of that, they will read books and they'll buy books like crazy because you're paying, like you said, a tremendous deal, $20, $30 to get all this knowledge. And if you get one thing out that can change your life, then all of a sudden, things just take off from there. So
it's genius.
Yeah, it's genius, but everybody doesn't do it. Everybody doesn't do it. So that makes sense. Well, cool. Go ahead. You had some more?
Yes, I do. Just one more thing I'm going to say, because it helped me out a lot as well. Look at where you're spending your time when you are frivolously spending time, and try to commit to cutting down 30 minutes there and pushing it over to something that you need to do that's dedicated to your business, whether it's, doing some sort of seminar, free seminars, whatever you have to do. But that time adds up, and think about it. If it's 30 minutes a day extra that you're just spending frivolous time, it might be for the person who likes to scroll on social media. If that's the case, put it towards something that you can invest back into yourself, your business, your brand. Before you know it, you have so much extra time that is going into you, and it will show. It will show. It will show up.
Yeah, what is the magic of I know, especially in financing, they call compound interest, where just putting a little dollar here and there over a long period of time, all of a sudden you have all this money. Same thing for your effort and your time. If you take 30 minutes extra and you put it towards something and it's laser focused, especially, you can definitely see some tremendous results just by doing that.
Absolutely.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you for giving those 3 hacks again, so that we can be better entrepreneurs and business owners. Just if you're listening to this second part of the interview, I wanted to ask you, if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to do that again?
You can get a hold of me at Patrice Lene at investorbusiness.com. Again, that is Patrice Lene at investorbusiness.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Patrice. I appreciate your time again and all the hacks that you gave us. No problem. I hope you have a great rest of the day again.
Okay, you too.